new hope in no man's land. The forgotten people of a desperate Canadian town. And dusting off an old image in the Far East.
Good afternoon and welcome to this evening's broadcast on CTV News. Today I am exploring a topic that is increasingly becoming a major issue across homes throughout America and the world. Teens and preteens are buying drugs online on websites such as Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and Twitter. These drugs are being purchased within the confines of teenagers' bedrooms in complete anonymity. The drug transactions occur online directly on teen cell phones, tablets, or PCs. Payments can be made and sent directly online as well, enabling our children to literally purchase and pay for drugs in this virtual world under the complete global radar of their parents. This crisis has been going on for the last 10 years, and now the global COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted this explosion of drug abuse and suicide issues among our youth. Youth have spent the last 2 years isolated due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and this has resulted in loneliness and depression for many. Teenagers are reaching to drugs to help cope with the fear and isolation of the pandemic. An increase of drug abuse is staggering. Today's special news broadcast explores the question of whether social media has made drug trafficking and access to drugs easier for youth around the world. Young people spend so much time on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat. While social media does indeed help us keep us connected to our friends, more and more news stories have surfaced showing that drugs are also being dealt and delivered through these social media sites. It is very important to explore this topic because there's already a drug epidemic in the world leading to increased drug abuse and many overdoses among our youth. By examining this issue through my news report, we can highlight the problems and make youth and their parents aware of these dangers. After today's broadcast, I am hoping both parents and teenagers will leave with a better understanding of the clear and present danger social media sites are to our youth. They open the doors to purchase narcotics and contact drug dealers in a very anonymous manner.
Stacks of cash.
25K, another 20.
Dealers are using social media to show off what they've got, infiltrating feeds of ever younger teens curious about this flashy lifestyle. With more addicts and overdoses by the day, they've got drivers on demand delivering any drug to your door 24/7.
Social media app has changed the game when it comes to narcotics.
Social media has contributed to increased drug use and drug overdoses amongst adolescents all around the world. The following three factors have been primary contributing factors to this global health issue among youth. There is now easier access to drugs via social media platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat. According to CBS Evening News Report, although most multimedia sites require a minimum age of 18 to join, teens can sign up simply by entering a false date of birth on the website. There are no controls in place to verify the date of birth, and tech companies really need to put guardrails in place to prevent this access. This initial access is critical because it is the initial entry point of teens, preteens into the world of social media. Since drug dealers are using these platforms to sell drugs, it opens the door to all youth being able to keep access to them. If they were denied entry into social media platforms initially, it would help regulate the sale of drugs at least to those under the age of 18. Drug users are fully aware that anyone can sign up to these social media sites. They therefore purposely target these young individuals to expand their drug sales. The UN performed a study in March 2022 and released their findings in their annual report. According to the UN annual report, there is a definite increase and link between exposure to multimedia and teenage drug use, which disproportionately affects young people who are the main users of social media, an age group which is highly susceptible to drug use. Statistics of teen social media use, according to a study performed by the Smart Social, we clearly see that 85% of Americans own a smartphone and 87% of teens own an iPhone. 95% have daily access to a smartphone, and 46% of them are consistently. Looking at these numbers, we can see that practically the entire population has access to social media platforms. It would be almost impossible at this point to try and control access to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. This being the case, society must focus in on making the digital world itself safer. The private sector must get involved and ensure there are safeguards to regulate and protect all youth. Criminals that are exploiting digital tools must be stopped and banned from the sites. Societies are truly being taken over by the drug trade and its negative impacts on communities. Contributing to the problem is the glamorization of drugs and alcohol consumption all over multimedia sites. The drug dealers are purposely posting lifestyles of glamour and glitz, along with drinking and using drugs. Adolescents viewing these want to be part of this lifestyle, part of the cool kid club. Teens feel these behaviors and lifestyles are normal and want to be part of it. According to Jenna Hillard, in her article, The Influence of Social Media on Teen Drug Use online platform and social media sites are often an unregulated area by drug authorities and are hard to monitor and control. Teens have easier access to drugs as the illegal drug trade is booming on social media sites. In Brianna Braun's personal account expository essay, she details her experience of scrolling through social media and coming across several drugs for sale. Snapchat was created to instantly share a message and then have it disappear within 10 seconds. However, the impact of Snapchat is allowing drug deals to happen and all traces of drug transactions disappear. It is the perfect place for the illicit drug market to exist and for teens to engage in drug transactions and to not get caught. The risk is so much lower than if people must meet in a park or on a street corner and perform their complete drug transaction in a person and not under the veil of the virtual world. The ease of purchase drugs and paying for them all online has made it so much more dangerous for teens and our youth. Further collaborated by Sam Nichols of ABC News, social media has provided a new marketplace for drugs and police are struggling to keep up. We see here the ABC reporter meet with a drug dealer and follow him for several days as he deals drugs online. Alex, our drug dealer, details how he moved with his business online to social media platforms. He averages about 5 clients a day. Once he's set up on Facebook, he's dealing up to a minimum of 15 transactions per day. This shows us clearly in 2022 how much the market for street drugs has changed since the popularity of social media platforms have exploded. According to Sam Nichols, the internet has embraced the dealers and buyers for its simplicity and global reach, as well as according to Robert McGaugh, drug cartels are all over Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Criminal gangs in Latin America have literally infiltrated social media and messaging platforms to the so-called narco culture and sell drugs. These gangs post images of a glamorous lifestyle on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram. They want to lure preteens and preteens with this glamorous and fun lifestyle. They get all these teenagers to follow them, and they get to start direct messaging them through the social media platforms. They offer to sell and send them drugs secretly with no actual real-life interaction.
Son died 2 weeks before his 14th birthday in 2020. Luca was the most kind-hearted person I've ever met in my life. Shortly before Luca died, Luca had been suffering from depression. He had recently lost his grandfather and his grandmother. Luca had been experimenting with marijuana. We did not know he was obtaining it off of Snapchat. He said it helped him sleep and with his anxiety. In August of 2020, Luca had a root canal. He had complained to his friend on Snapchat about his mouth pain, and he was offered a Percocet that ended up being a counterfeit pill that was pure fentanyl. I was told Luca went into his room to play video games. 2 hours later, he was found unresponsive. I got the call that changed my life forever. I was told Luca's dead. Toxicology showed he had been given pure fentanyl. The cause of death was listed as an accidental overdose. The drug dealer off of Snapchat was a 19-year-old man, and he has been charged with first-degree murder. Fentanyl is a poison, so it doesn't matter if someone is 13, 30, an addict or not. If they get fentanyl, that's murder.
Conclusion. We can clearly see that increased time spent on social media sites during the COVID-19 pandemic has contributed to an explosion of drug use and suicides of teenagers. According to a research study conducted in 2022 by the National Center for Drug Abuse, teens have reached a drug to cope with the isolation and stress of COVID-19 pandemic. The key findings of the study have shown that a 61% increase in drug abuse among 8th graders, 62% of teens in 12th grade abused alcohol, and 50% of all teens have misused at least one drug. It is time for the authorities to step in and start regulating and monitoring all these online platforms. Safety nets need to be in our protect our youth from drug dealers and international gangs targeted and selling them drugs online. Parents need to step in and have safety measures in place on the home front and limit the amount of time their children spend online. Together, we can help our youth and save lives from drug abuse and suicide.